Episode 86. I attended the All-Wheel Drive Fest and hid amongst the Hondas and Subarus. I just sold a lawnmower on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, that's the last time my neighbor wakes me up early on the weekends. Hello and welcome to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast. I'm your host, Nicky G. I'm here to inform, entertain, and delight your ear holes with all things off-road for the next 10 minutes or so. Why 10 minutes? That's about how much desire I have to just ramble on. I want to remind everybody you can listen to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Overcast, Breaker, CastBox, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Stitcher, but never on iHeartRadio or Pandora, because those guys are just pricks. You can contact the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast at 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. That's 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. Or just leave a comment on our very many social media platforms that we don't participate in. Leaving a comment on YouTube videos seems to be about the best way to get my attention. That or just flash me when you're naked. That didn't make any sense. I might cut that part out. You can follow the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast and be ignored by the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, but never TikTok, because TikTok is a tool of the devil. Alright, so now we have all that legal mumbo-jumbo boilerplate out of the way. I got back last weekend from All-Wheel Drive Fest, had a great time. This episode was supposed to air Sunday. I was supposed to get back Sunday morning, record an episode while everything was fresh in my mind. But I got back Saturday, and I was tired, and then one thing led to another. Life catches up to you, and now it's Wednesday, so I'm recording this. It'll probably air a week late. I don't know if that's going to put me back 2 weeks on everything else, or if I'll just run an episode next week to get caught back up on schedule. You know, when you're the boss, you could do stuff like that. So I attended All-Wheel Drive Fest, which was in Uwharrie this year. If you have a chance to go, I recommend you do. It was a hoot, had a great time. We had people as close as just about 12 miles from the event attend, and we had people far away as Chicago, and probably even further. I didn't get a chance to talk to everybody. There was literally about 100 people there. There was about 50, 60 rigs, and then, everybody, there's some people were one to a rig, some people had their whole families with them. It was a good time. Camped out for 3 days. And it was just a pleasure and a joy. Some of the vehicles in the lineup, I counted 12 Honda Ridgelines and Pilots. I'm putting those two in the same category because they're basically the same vehicle. I know one Pilot was bone stock. The guy had a blast, a great time. One CRV, one Honda Element, one Acura, 3 Wranglers, 3 Toyota trucks, 1 Lexus, 2 XJs. Yeah, and I was one of the other one. And I gotta tell you, the other XJ I saw, it was built pretty nice too. 11 Subarus, various models. 1 Hyundai Santa Fe, which was rode. I think the stock Honda Pilot and the Santa Fe were in my group, and very nice people. And along with one of the Subaru people. A Nissan Xterra, a Mazda CX-30, there were 2 Suzuki Samurais, a Grand Cherokee, 2 KL Cherokees, and a Gladiator. And we had a great time. So the first night there, we just set up camp. As soon as we set up camp, bad thunderstorm come through with very high winds, blew everybody's stuff all around, blew my awning down off my Jeep, bent some of the tubes. Took a little bit of time for me to straighten them out and get it just right. For a free amount of wind, it came through. Very little damage to my vehicle. I think some people, there was a Bronco Sport there. That missed my notes. He sustained a little bit of dents from his awning beating the crap out of his vehicle. But it's a Bronco Sport, so we don't really count that as a vehicle. Alright, so some of the events they had planned was, of course, we had the welcome drivers meeting, and then we had the trail ride. Then in the evening when we got back from our trail ride, they had a first aid and CPR class / seminar. Then they talked about hammock camping. Then they had a strut toss where they had a strut and you had to whoever threw it the furthest won the strut toss. And if you ever try to throw a strut, it's a pretty awkward thing to carry. Then they had skid plate frisbee. I don't know about that. That sounds dangerous. Then a 10 millimeter socket hunt, followed by a raffle, then campfire, and then at 11 o'clock we had quiet time, which things wound down pretty quiet. By 10 o'clock we were all kind of sitting, chilling around the fire. Okay, so on the first day, so we got there Friday, camped out, had a good time chatting, meeting everybody. They had a coffee truck show up, so everybody had coffee, and the guy stayed with the coffee truck. He actually was the other guy in the XJ that did some wheeling. So that was nice. Friday, just set up everything, met everybody, ate dinner, chilled around a campfire. Saturday, we got up, had the drivers meeting. We broke up into groups of 6 and went wheeling. So we had a bone stock Honda Pilot with us, so we couldn't go on any crazy trails. So we went on the easiest trail at Uwharrie. He did great. Everybody did great. Had a great time. Come off the trail, we decided to take a Forest Service road up to the lake. Driving down the Forest Service road, it's a gravel, it's a little rough. Snap. My control arm broke on my Jeep. Everybody was cool. I was expecting a whole lot of ribbing from the Subaru people about XJ's braking. I fit the stereotype. Redneck and a clapped out XJ breaking down. But limped back to camp. We had lunch, and then we broke up into groups to go out again. And when everybody went out and I was left at camp pretty much by myself, I got to thinking I should go home. It would be, if I couldn't make it all the ways home and I had to call for help, it would be easier for me to get some help on a Saturday afternoon as opposed to early on Sunday morning. Although Sunday morning there was no traffic, or it would be lighter traffic, so I was kind of torn. But then I decided to go for the going home early on Saturday. And I wish I stayed. Looking in hindsight, I should have stayed. But I had a rooftop tent on a trailer. So that took me a while to limp home. And that was the main thing I was worried about. If it wasn't for that, I would have stayed Saturday, stayed Sunday morning, tried to go home, and if I couldn't make it, just get it towed home. But I was worried about having to leave the trailer on the side of the road out in the middle of nowhere. I'm sure it would not be there when I got back. So, I erred on the side of caution and left. And I wish I would have stayed, but I didn't. So my good time was cut short, but I'm going back next year, and I'm told all my friends that didn't go to it this year that, come on, we got to go next year. It was a hoot. Got to see a lot of stuff that I've never seen before. I really enjoy getting out camping with people that do it differently than me, because I'm a minimalist. I carry as little as possible. Eat out of a soup can if I have to. As a matter of fact, I made a hobo packet for dinner, which worked out pretty good. It was just sausage, potatoes, and onions. And then for breakfast, I had some ham and potatoes and eggs. But I didn't bring any food for the rest of the time. I just had some MREs I just threw in the Jeep. And I was going to eat some MREs the rest of the weekend, which probably wouldn't have done my stomach much good. But I tell you, a lot of people had those little privacy tents out for their toilets. But they had porta potties on site, so I made use of them so I wouldn't have to crap in a bucket. Although I do enjoy a good crap in a good bucket. The porta potty was a nice change. It was held on private property, a great big field, so we didn't have to worry about unwanted guests or anything. It was nice. It was clean. I got to tell you, since it was private property, not a bit of trash. The only time there was trash is after the storm blew everybody's stuff around. And a few minutes of policing and picking up trash, and everything was good as new. So I didn't get to fully enjoy All-Wheel Drive Fest. I will next year. The little bit I attended was a hoot. I recommend you go if you get a chance. And if you do, let me know. I'll meet you there. All right, till next time, this is Nicky G saying, wheel what you got and be happy.